Hey you guys, it's Johnny's Lacey. I'm coming to you with another review for American Horror Story Murder House, episode 2, Home Invasion. So let's get into it. So the episode starts in 1968. You have um, the song Aquarius, Let the Sunshine is playing. And you have Gigi and Janice are coming down the stairs with another young lady. Now, apparently, Um, there was a black actress, but Ryan Murphy didn't feel like she needed to get a name, so couldn't find her name. So it's the black lady that didn't get a fucking name. So Gigi Janice and we're gonna call her Oshun. Gigi Janice and Oshun are coming down the stairs, and when they get downstairs, they start asking. Gigi asks Maria if she wants to go and go see the doors. Uh, she's like, no, I have like an anatomy test tomorrow. So she's studying and she's, doing being a good student, being a good girl, how she should be. And basically, Janice is making fun of her, and then the nurse, the sorority mother of the house, Gladys comes in and she's like, "Leave her alone, Janice. What she ever do to you?" Janice Janice Goofy, I was gonna say she forgot to pray for my sins. It's like I hope you get the clap. I'm like, damn, Gladys. And so Janice was like, I guess you two lesbians, and never had to worry about that. I'm like, just because she's not a whore like you doesn't mean she's a lesbian. My goodness. So they leave, and then Janice bangs on the window and finger and gives her the finger, and Gladys is like, did you forget your diaphragm? And Maria jokingly is like, she can still get the clap with her diaphragm, and they start laughing. And so they're watching the Dick Van Dyke Show. And I remember, I know what show it is because they show the infomercials for Carol Burnett and Dick Van Dyke and everything. And there's one scene on the infomercial they show is like, what's the girl's name? Something, I don't know, something Emily or something, Rebecca. Like, it's your heart is in the right place, but your head is what I'm worried about. So it's like a little funny joke and shit. Um, then this man knocks on the door, R. Franklin, and he has like this blood stain on his head, and he's like, "Excuse me, ma'am, I seem to be hurt. Can you help me?" Now Maria lets him in, and for me, I think she let him in because it's the '60s, and they were not as strict. They were way more helpful in the '60s than they are now. Now you've had the free drug, free love, free sex stage. We've had the '80s, '90s, or 2000s, 2010s. It's like, nah, bitch, we're not helping you. We have years and decades of examples of why not to help motherfuckers, and this particular reason is why. So R. Franklin, he gets in. Um, she's cleaning him, and she's a nurse student. She's cleaning the wound and getting the blood off, but she's like, I can't find the entry wound. I can't find where the source of the bleeding is. And Gladys looks at him because she's like, something is wrong. He takes a little small crystal sage bowl and he knocks Maria in her head. And then Gladys tries to run. He was like, don't try anything, don't try to be a hero. Gladys runs around where he is and then he jumps behind the couch. Now, dear God in heaven, why the fuck would you run where he is? Why didn't you run the other way? Like, what type of shit is like, bitch? That's a big ass house. There's a whole bunch of doors in that motherfucker. Why didn't you run that way? Oh, God damn. So then, he gets her. He takes her upstairs in the bathroom, and he basically drowns her. Apparently, it takes 3 minutes for the human body to be without oxygen, and then you go brain dead or something to that effect. It's fucked up that they know that, but hey, whatever. So then he comes downstairs. He ties Maria. No, Maria's sitting on the couch, and she's unconscious. And he's like, "I told you, no, Jesus can't save me." Because before he was touching her cross necklace, and he was like, "Do you think Jesus will save you?" She's like, "Of course, I am saved. We all are. So this is the '60s, so they're still somewhat religious, but this shit is popping off because they're in LA especially. So, and so he has a nurse uniform. He makes her take her clothes off and put the nurse uniform on. And she tries to put it on over. She's like, no, 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 no. Take your clothes off and put this on. She's like, please don't hurt me. I'm a virgin. I wouldn't have said this shit. Cause that was old Charles Manson time around them motherfuckers. So that might make a motherfucker want to hurt you more if you are a virgin. You never know. That's that old Annabelle shit, going in motherfuckers' houses and all white, killing your family and whatnot. Like, no, that might have made him want to fuck you up more for saying you are a virgin. Um, so she gets dressed, he ties her up, and then he's like, "Oh, Jesus can't save me. I told you that, boo. He can't save you. He ain't gonna save me." And so she's praying. She's like, "Well, you know what, God, just take me in your hands, cause I don't see no way I'm getting the fuck out of this one. So just go ahead and take me, cause yeah, I'm not convinced I'm gonna get out of this shit the way I need to get out of this shit. I'm not convinced." So, then he starts stabbing her multiple times. I think he stabbed her 8 or 9 times from what I saw of the wounds, and she basically dies. And then that's the end of that. And then the next scene, flash forwards to today, and Tate and Dr. Ben Harmon are in Dr. Ben's office in his home, and he's basically um, not talking. Tate is mad at Ben for not letting him see Violet, so he starts. Ben asks Tate, "What are you thinking about?" And he was like, "I'm thinking about your daughter. I'm thinking about me fucking her, and I'm thinking about me jacking off to her and me laying her down. She's a virgin, and they get wet real quick." And Ben was like, "I'm not comfortable with you talking about my daughter, and I'm not comfortable talking about my daughter with you." And he really held his composure because Tate would have got fucked up. You're not gonna do that, Tate. You're gonna take your ass home. And he was like, "Well, what else do you want to talk about?" He's like, "It's the only thing I can, He what was it? Ben was like, "Do you think about sex a lot?" He tried to change it over to another subject, really, try to redirect the energy. And Tate was just like, "Well, yeah, because it's the only thing that gets my mind off the blood and carnage, and there's so much blood and shit I can't, you know, masturbating is the only thing that gets my mind off of it." You are a deeply disturbed person, but he's dead, so fuck it. Um, so he basically, that's the end of his time with him. He ends it early because he's like, "You know what, Tate? I ain't got time for you and your fuckery. Take your ass home." He was like, "It's the end of our time." He's like, "Bullshit, that's not the end of our time. I don't accept that." He's like, "Tate, get the fuck out of my house." He's like, "Well, fuck you too, man. Like, you're fucking out of here, man." And then shit Mike ever said, "Fuck you, mom. You're fucking dead, man. You're fucking out of here." I hate Mike Epps. But that shit, he was like, "Well, fuck you." And he like kind of like, he left. And then this somebody kept blowing his phone up. And he answered it. He was like, "What the fuck? I told you don't call me like this no more. Or we gonna have any problems. Do I need to change my phone number?" And the girl, Hayden, Hayden, the mistress, the 21-year-old that he had sex with, one of his students, she was calling him, and she basically said that, "I'm pregnant." He's like, "What the fuck?" So the next scene you goes to, he has another patient. That patient's name is Bianca. Bianca keeps having these reoccurring. She's saying she has these reoccurring dreams where she's in an elevator and there is some type of Karen Carpenter music playing, and the elevator stops and she tries to crawl out. She opens the elevator doors and she tries to crawl out, and as soon as she gets halfway out of the elevator, she gets chopped in half. The elevator starts again, and it it does that Final Destination 2 shit. It like rips her body in two, and part of her body's on the ground, other part's still in the elevator. So he's like, "Oh God, how long have you been having these dreams?" She's like, "I've had them for 10 times or so." He's like, "Have you been sexually assaulted?" She's like, "You mean like molested?" No. Cool, man. She's one of those eerie motherfuckers. She's just, you can't tell whether she's an incest baby or she's just high or both. Like, and she's strange. She's strange. She's like one of those Adderall children. You've been on Ritalin for all your life, and she's like a combination of Eeyore and the Mad Hatter. Like that is a crazy, twisted, tripped out combination, but that's what she is. So she finally, he's like, well, didn't you find me off of a website for the psychiatrist? She said, yeah, but I also figured out that you guys, this is the murder house. And when I first saw it, it flipped me out. I was like, oh my God. And then she's like, oh, it's my lucky day. And he's like, okay, well, my time is up. So, I think she ends up stumbling around in the house, and then he later on tells her to leave. And then later on in the scene, what else happened? He basically runs into Larry Harvey, and Larry Harvey tells him that he has to lie to his wife he has to do the noble thing and lie to his wife. How is that noble? I don't understand people. He has to lie to his wife and tell her that she's going to Boston. Excuse me. I'm sorry about that. He's going back to Boston to see one of his patients, some Amelia something. She's having a nervous breakdown, and her parents are concerned, and she'll only talk to me. Some lie like that. But he's really going to see Hayden, and so he tells his wife, and his wife is like, "You know what you are, darling." He's like a dumbass, an idiot. He's like, "No, you're a good man." And so then he feels terrible because like I have to fucking lie to her again, and so never mind. He feels terrible for lying to her again, but he does it, so it is what it is. So then it goes to a next scene of Constance finds out about Tate in Violet. I think because what's his name? Ben. He calls Constance like, "Oh, I can't see your son anymore. He's being inappropriate with my daughter," and things of that nature. And so she makes some like cupcakes, chocolate cupcakes, has Addie spit in it, and has her give her some type of chemical. You can't taste it, but it causes like internal bleeding and violent vomiting and crazy shit like that. Some old asbestos type old school shit. So she puts that in the food, and she makes it for Violet, and makes two of them for Violet. And she goes over to see what's her name? She goes over to see Vivian, and she's talking to Vivian about her having a baby and her being pregnant, and she was saying, I'm older, and what you were saying the other day about if they had those tests when, a few years before you had your daughter. She's like, oh, I was just talking shit, but she basically told her, you more than likely you'll be okay. The baby's fine. She's like, I can smell she's like, how did you know I was pregnant? She's like, I can smell that baby when I walked in the door. I'm like, well, old women, God, especially old Southern women, they got a nose for shit. I'm like, God damn, they got a nose for bullshit, fuckery, and whoever's pregnant. Oh, and I can't stand them with them goddamn fish dreams. Like I dreamt about fishes last night. I'm sick of you. You and your goddamn dreams. You keep them shits to yourself. Oh God, I'm sorry, y'all. That shit pissed me off. I'll be at family reunions after I dreamt of fishes. And you'll take your fish dreaming ass the fuck over there. Like, fish is coming out this pond. Fuck yeah, I ain't got money for that shit. No, no, no. I got money for birth control and condoms. That's it. We're done. No money for no fucking kids. Fuck that shit. So then the scene goes on. Later on that night. No. That next day, basically, the next scene is Leah is talking to Violet. Violet is scared shitless. She doesn't understand what happened. She doesn't know what she saw, but she basically tells Violet she told her parents that she got attacked by some cholos. I'm like, ain't that a bitch? I'm like, they out here looking for some Hispanic people, and that shit never happened. It was some old crazy, dead, mutated incest, creature in a house. Man, that's fucked up. They don't deserve that shit. So, then later on, Ben's patient Bianca, she comes back with her friend Fiona, and Fiona comes to the door, and she was like, she did pull the R. Franklin move. Excuse me, I'm bleeding. I've been hurt. Can you help me? And Vivian, this ain't the 60s no more. So Vivian's like, I'll call the police. And plus, Vivian's pregnant, and she's a little, she's like in her 40s. She's like, I'll call the police, and she locked the door. She's like, what's wrong with you? What type of woman are you? He's gonna kill me. She's like, I'm calling the police. And then she's like, fuck you, all that. And then Vivian went and got the phone. She called Violet down the stairs. She said, listen, call the police. Somebody's at the door playing games. And, Violet came downstairs. She was like, all having attitude and shit because earlier she was talking to Vivian. And Vivian was like, talking to her about the baby and about her dad and all that. And Violet didn't really want to hear it because she had caught her dad with Myra, the maid, before. Myra was pushing up on him, but it wasn't like he was giving it a fight, but he wasn't really giving it not the fight he could have really been given. He wasn't that turned off. But so she told her mom, I think you're weak and having a baby with dad is not gonna make your relationship, any better. And Vivian was like, whatever, man, I don't even want to fucking hear this shit. And so basically, she called Violet down, and she came down. That's why she came down with that fucking attitude and shit. Like, bitch, just call the fucking police. Jesus Christ. So she gets up there, calls the police. No, she tries to go to the kitchen and call the police, but the phones are gone because I think Bianca then came in and took the shits. So then she goes back to the door, and the doorbell is ringing. Vivian is like, listen, whoever the fuck you are, quit playing on my door. I'll call the police. They're on their way. And so then they get into the house, I think, through the back door. And so now Vivian and Violet they got tied up. Bianca, Fiona, and Dallas. The only one who was smart is Fiona, and she's not that bright, so that's a terrible group. It's a terrible trio. They're trying to recreate a lot of the Hollywood famous murders, particularly with R. Franklin. They've studied his case. They've studied the blueprint of the house, and they tied them up. And basically, they're gonna make Violet play Gladys, and they're gonna drown her in the tub at 10:57 precisely. And then Vivian is gonna be Maria, and they're gonna stab her. So Violet goes upstairs with Fiona and Bianca. Bianca's this demented bitch. She gonna go over there and see a cupcake. The same cupcake that Constance had made for Violet for talking and being involved with Tate, which I don't understand. Like, some mothers trip me out with that shit. Like, it's your son that ain't shit. What you mad at me about? Like, the fuck? Anyway, so she ate that cupcake. And it started giving her adverse effects. And she started getting the Violet vomiting and internal bleeding and all the rest of that shit there. Now, Fiona got mad at her, reasonably so. Like, bitch, you leaving DNA, you leaving oral DNA on these crumbs that you dropping all over the house. It's like, are you fucking eating right now? Are you serious? And so Bianca was like, hold on. This hurts. Don't start without me. So she goes to vomit, and then Fiona puts Violet in the tub, and Violet tells her, "No, this is not the same tub. We mastered this bathroom." And she was like, "How you gonna tell me? Are you trying to trick me?" She said, "Listen, it's a clawfoot, grungy tub. We put the shit in the basement. If you don't believe me, you can go look your damn self." And so she took her Violet downstairs, and she put her in the tub, and she was like, "Oh, you better not be trying to fucking trick me." She's like, "I'm not." And then when she gets down there, the lights flick on and off. And then she's like, "Where the fuck are you?" And Tate said, "I'm over here, bitch." She goes in there and she sees Gladys' spirit drowned and dead rise up in the tub, and it scares the fuck out of her. And then her throat gets cut and she dies. So then basically Bianca goes looking for Fiona. She can't find her. She sees Tate walk to the left towards the bathroom, past the bathtub, and then she turns around and Tate comes with an axe and he chops her body in two places in her torso. And so then she's dragging around the hall, bunch of blood all over the place, all on the walls, just gobs, goo gobs of blood everywhere, trying to find people when she can't. Um, Dallas, I think Dallas is still with Vivian, and he's trying to get her to dress up as a nurse, and he's looking at her, he's getting turned on, all the rest of that. And she's telling him to turn around. He's like, no, fuck no, I ain't turning around. She said, okay, fine, I'll turn around. Then she goes for the knife, for one of those little fireplace pitches, and tries to stab him. He tries to stab her, and he flips her over. And um, what happens? Somebody comes in, and I think Violet comes up and she knocks him out or some shit, or she gets on top of him, and or no, Vivian knocks him off balance, and then she hits him with the bowl on the head. She keeps hitting him, and he passes out, and then Violet comes out the basement because Tate helped her escape. Um, and then Violet and Vivian run out the house screaming, help, 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 help. And that's when Constance, she's with her boyfriend Travis. He's a little young little thing. She's a cougar. And she got a little, she robbed the cradle. And Travis, he's very beautiful. And he's a very nice body. But he's dumb as shit. He is dumb as the day in the summertime is fucking long. He is dumber than a bag full of fucking rocks. And he was like asking, could he be a model and all. She's like, of course, you're beautiful. But she doesn't believe it. She just wants some dick, And it's like, she'll get your dick. You hit menopause, you in a sexual prime of your life, go ahead and get your dick. Now, but Addie was in murder house because she keeps getting in and out of their house just like Tate, except for she's not dead. So she saw Vivian being attacked, and so then she goes to her mom and basically tries to tell her, but she doesn't know how to congregate her words properly. And I don't know if I said it right. Fuck it. She doesn't know how to tell her properly, like in the right sentence structuring. Um, they're being attacked across the next door, and she just says there's a bad man next door. Constance gonna say, listen, I know I don't like him either, but he owns the house and that's that. So she tries to come back another time and tell her that there is something wrong next door. So then she puts Constance puts Addie in this like closet, like this Carrie White type of shit, and it's this little hall of mirrors. And she said, "Just look at yourself." And so the more Addie looks at her, so she just starts screaming. I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, you're not that attractive, but you don't have to scream. Stop that shit." So then she goes back to being with Travis, and I think by the time they're screaming, "Help! Call the police!" He's asleep. I think they've already had sex and everything. Um, so in that time, Ben has gone to Boston to see Hayden because Hayden is pregnant. Hayden is like, oh, I'm so glad you're coming to see me. And he's like, oh, you're responsible. I'm glad you're handling this well and all this. And she's like, oh, cool. And she's like, I really want you to turn your phone off. And, he's like, okay, fine. We're in the time warp. We're on our own little island. Some pizza comes. She gets up to go answer the door. He picks his phone up to check it, because he got to check on his wife. She's like, are you serious? Like, did you not just say you weren't going to check phones? And then she started doing that emotional manipulative, that emotionally manipulative shit, that crying on the drop of a hat. And I'm like, bitch, ain't nothing wrong with you. And mentally, but ain't you all right? Stop all that shit. Go sit the fuck down. And so then he's like, okay. He turns his phone off, I think, and he puts it in her bag. Then they go to the clinic, the doctors the next day, and she's going to get the abortion. But he gets his phone out her bag, and he has 13 missed calls from his wife. And so he leaves her at the abortion clinic and then goes back to LA. Now, you might disagree with me. I wouldn't have left. I would have stayed there and made sure she had that fucking abortion. Because even if she does come to my wife's house and tells her she was pregnant, she doesn't have a baby with her, so she can just play stupid. You can just play stupid and act like I never got that bitch pregnant. If I got you pregnant, where's the baby? You know, do some shit like that. I would have stayed with her and took all her fucking paperwork, and and had her sign over as I'm her psychiatric whatever, her psychiatric whatever. You know what I mean? I'm her not power of attorney, but I'm one of her doctors, and so you can get access to her medical documents before she can or some shit or with her consent. Like I would have played that shit all the way out. Like nope. I'm sorry, babe. I didn't hear you. I was with a patient. She was trying to kill herself. Shit got real fast. I would have made sure that bitch went through with that fucking abortion. Cause there ain't no fucking way. I would have dealt with her and all her bullshit. So then the last scene, Ben comes home and the police detective, who is it? Detective Webb and Powell are, questioning him, and he was like, "Oh, where were you? You were in Boston with a patient?" He's like, "Yes, I was." He told her the patient, and he was like, "Were you with a real patient?" He said, "Excuse me," and he was like, "Because Bianca was pretending to be a patient, but she was casing out the house because it was on a murder house tour, and well, it is on a murder house tour." And he was like, "Oh wow, I didn't know she was pretending to be one. She must have been casing the place out." He was like, "Yeah." He's like, "But you won't have any issues with her anymore because we found her a few blocks away, chopped in half." And he was like, "Ugh," because that was one of the things she came to him and said she was afraid of happening to her. Now, I don't know if she really had that happening because if she was a fake patient, she could have, that could have easily not been a real dream she had. But, she sure did speak that shit into existence. So that was pretty much the whole, yeah, Dallas died, Fiona died, Bianca died, and they got rid of the bodies and got rid of the blood because basically Tate Conscious was like, Conscious asked Tate, "Is this your handiwork?" He was like, "No." He's like, "Well, we need to get him out of this house or else Dr. Ben won't be seeing you anymore." So, basically, Ben wanted to, he was glad that Tate was there to help, but he wanted to know why he was there. And uh, Violet basically said it don't make no difference. He was here and you weren't, and she walked off. And he was like, I'm home to Vivian. And Vivian was like, you're here, but you're not home because we're selling this house. And that was basically the end of the show. Um, I'm gonna review the other episodes. Probably gonna put them up tomorrow, and just tell me what you think about the season. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.